Welcome to a new episode of Meditando.com. Today I have the pleasure of talking and meditating with a yogi, writer, scholar, and spiritual teacher, devotee of Bhagwan. He is the General Secretary of the International Vedanta Society. He also gives initiation to spiritual aspirants authorized by his master Bhagwan. He has given lectures at many renowned spiritual organizations and universities like the New York University, Suffolk University in Boston, La Laguna University in Spain, and Tilburg University in Holland, as well as Unitarian churches around the USA. He has also introduced courses on Vedanta and Bhagavad Gita in various universities across India. He is based in Varanasi, India. Welcome to the show, Swami Probuddhananda Puri.
Thank you. Thank you, and namaste to you, and namaste to everybody from India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I really appreciate this time with you. We always like to start the interview with an icebreaker question, sometimes tricky question, is how did yoga or spirituality, if you want, appear in your life?
Okay. Yeah, this is a very important question. Actually, it all happened with my master Bhagwan. He was a neighbor, and I was a child at that time. I used to study in the school, and I didn't know that he was such a great master, just living one house apart, just next, almost next door. So my parents used to visit him, but when my parents visited him, I could see that there is a change in my father and my mother. Mostly, my mother, which was very evident to me, and which did a lot of, it affected me a lot because, as you know that we are very close to our mother. But when my mother went to Bhagwan and she started her spiritual life, I could see that she was becoming dispassionate. She was becoming very quiet, calm. She did not scream at me. She did not scold me. So this is how, we in India grow up. We get scolding from our mother. They beat us. They interfere in each and every thing that you do apart from your studies. So I could see that my mother was completely indifferent to me at one point, and it really, hurt me. So one day I went to my master, and at that time he was not my master. I just used to call him uncle. So I asked him, "What are you doing here? Oh, my mother has completely changed." So then he said that we are searching for truth. So I asked, "What is truth? Is there anything called truth?" He said, "Yes, there is truth, and the truth is, whatever you say, if you say the right thing." If you say the thing that is that really is, even in the practical world that you study, you say that I think that is truth. And then when I heard the actual, meaning of what truth is, then I told him that I cannot speak the truth, and I just came back to my house. But when I came back to my house, I started to practice not speaking lies. Whenever we used to go to play at the time, we used to tell my mother that I'm going to study, but I used to go to the field to play. So then I stopped saying, false things, I could not speak the truth, but I just stopped saying false things. And that is how I was continuing. One day in the evening when I was studying, I was feeling very sad. My mind was not in my study. I was really distracted. I went outside my house and I found my master, meditating outside his house, and he was meditating, and somebody was sitting in his feet, and they were both meditating. It was nighttime. It was dark. And the scene that I saw, that he was meditating and somebody was meditating at his feet, that really, that really affected me so much that I just ran to him. So when I went to his house and he saw me standing there, he told me, "Why did you come today? You are not supposed to come. That day you said that you cannot speak the truth." Then I said that, I cannot speak the truth. It's true, but I am practicing to speaking in speaking the truth. And then I saw him so excited, he just jumped out of his seat. He came to me, he hugged me, and he was like so much happy. It gave me this feeling that, this speaking the truth was so important. And I felt that I have just, stood fast in my board exam, that is the feeling that I got. If you stand, if you become, you scored the highest marks, then you get this kind of appreciation, this kind of behavior from people. And I thought that I am like that, and that really that really affected me, that really influenced me so much that I started to have a very subtle, like a very subtle bond, like subtle love for him, so a very subtle relationship had developed that day, but it was very subtle. Then again, what happened was, in our neighborhood, there was one person who was suffering from cancer. So my mother asked me to bring go to the hospital and bring a ambulance so that we can carry that person to the hospital. So when I brought that ambulance, Bhagwan also went with us to the hospital. And then the doctor said that, he's not going to survive. So you should take him back to your house so that he can just live with his family. And he's not going to survive, for 15 days. So just let him live the way he wants to live. So we came back. And then Bhagwan, invited me to have tea with him in his house. So when we went to his house, we were just discussing what would happen if this man, dies in the night. Because at those times, things were not so fast, things were not so easy. If you need some medical help, you have to go to the hospital, bring it. It was not, there was no telephone, there was nothing, So when I was saying these things, that in the night, if something happens, what will happen? Then Bhagwan said that, he is not going to die. He is not going to die in this house. He will fall ill, and I will be in the hospital. I will be in the office. He will fall ill, and you all will take him to the hospital. That was really, weird to bizarre, that was really weird to hear, because what is the relationship between this man's dying and me taking us taking him to the hospital, and in the hospital he's going to die. He will not die in this house. It was very, very disappointing to hear this. Then I asked him, what is the relationship between you're going to the hospital, you're going to the office, and him, and he is dying in the hospital? Why cannot he die here in his house? Then he said that, I have realized the truth. And when, wherever I stay, death cannot enter. These words were, these were words like, that echoed in my ears so much. I could not believe these words, because I have never heard these words from anybody. I didn't have any idea that, somebody can say these things, that if you stay, a person, there might be some person around whom death cannot enter. This is something which is completely unimaginable, So I was very, taken aback, completely awestruck, but I didn't speak about this conversation of ours to anybody. Sometimes I had this, temptation of just talking to somebody and saying that this person said this, but I stopped myself, and I had this, wait and watch. Let me see what happens. So one day, this man really died. But at that time, I was not in my house. I was somewhere else. And when I came back and I saw that the person died, the first question that I asked my mother was, why did this man die? My mother said he died in the hospital. And then I asked, where was this uncle? I was, at that time I used to I used to address Bhagwan to, and then my mother said that he was in his office and nobody was there, and we were so helpless. We had to take this and that. My mother started to describe all this, but that was enough for me. I was completely, absorbed in admiration for Bhagwan, that I know somebody who, who is true to his words. He had said very, frankly and very truthfully that, wherever I stay, death cannot enter. And that is what it happened. So then, that was the second time that I was really drawn to him, attracted to him, but still I resisted myself. I did not start to visit him. I just, at that time, I just kept it to myself. And then the third instant happened when he came to our house and he told me to give a lecture on Buddha, because, the birth anniversary of Buddha is celebrated in India as Buddha Purnima. Everybody in India, we celebrate Buddha's birth. So he said that you come to my house, we will have a celebration, and you talk about Buddha in English. So I studied something about Buddha, and I went there and I gave a lecture on Buddha. And just after my lecture, Bhagwan started to speak. That was the first time, that I was listening to this, spiritual talk, spiritual discourse. And the way he was expressing Buddha, the way he was, saying, he was describing Buddha's divinity, Buddha's godhood, Buddha's heart, this overwhelming heart that he had, for everybody. The way he was expressing that, I was very, very impressed. And I was thinking, what did Buddha do that he is considered to be God? He is actually a human being. So how is it possible that, somebody becomes God? And, after that lecture of his, I went to him and I said that, Uncle, I'm really very impressed by the way you had talked about Buddha. And I think that my friends in the school, they should listen to what you have said. So can I bring my friends one day to you so that you can also speak to them about the thing that you have just said now? So then he said that, okay, you bring your friends and I'm going to talk about Swami Vivekananda. Perhaps you know about Swami Vivekananda. He was one of the greatest monks that India has ever produced. That monk who had traveled to the West, and whatever we see today, the growing interest of Hindu Dharma or Eastern philosophy or yoga or Vedanta, whatever interest today the West has, it was actually because of the works of Swami Vivekananda. So he said that you bring your friends and I'm going to speak about Swami Vivekananda. And then I went to him. And I was a constant visitor, and then within some days I became his devotee, and my spiritual life started. But before that also, another incident I forgot. This was the last one that I said. But before this, there was another one. That one day my mother sent, in India we chew pan. It's a pan leaf with betel fruits. So it's a very customary thing. People chew it, pan. It makes your mouth red. So one day my mother gave a pan and told me to go and give it to Bhagwan. When I went to his house, I saw one of his devotees sitting outside his house. So I asked him, where is Bhagwan? Where is uncle? So he's told me, keep quiet, come, sit here. I said that, I bought pan for him. You just give it to him and I'm going. But he told me, wait, you don't go. When he comes out, you give this pan to him. So then I asked him, where is he? Then he said that he is in samadhi. Now, this word samadhi, that day I heard this word for the first time in my life, that there is something called samadhi. I thought that this samadhi means some kind of, puja, some kind of ritual or some kind of meditation. So I said, okay, whenever he comes out, you just give this pan to him, and I'm leaving. He said, no, you sit down. When he comes here, then you give it to him. Now, samadhi is the highest state. Samadhi is a state called super consciousness. Samadhi is a state where one becomes one with the self, or consciousness. This is the highest state. So it is considered that when a person has this kind of states, so the people who are surrounded, they're around him, these people should also be very, very spiritual, or they cannot remain around him. So that day when Bhagwan had this samadhi, so that day that samadhi was very deep. So I was not supposed to be there, because at that time spiritual person should be there. He's supposed to be there. I am not supposed to be there. But when he came out of his house, the first person he saw was me. He didn't even see the next person who was already sitting there. He saw me for the first time. And while he saw me for the first time, he just he was very surprised. And he said, why are you here? How can you be here? This is, this should not be the place where you should be now. And he called me, come here. And then again, he embraced me. And he told that man that, you write it in your diary that this boy one day is going to become a very, very high, very, very high spiritual person. I did not understand anything, but when he was hugging me, when I was in the state of this, hugging with him, I felt some very, very deep, peace and love, such a love which I've never felt before. And a very, subtle but very deep connection with him. A connection which was he's my own, he is very own. I know him for a very long time. This kind of connection. And then, I came back to my house, and though this connection was there and I felt this, but I did not disclose it to anybody, and I did not think about it too much. But when I heard about Buddha, at that time I approached him and I said that I want to hear it more. And not only me, everybody of my age should listen to what he had said about Buddha. And that was the start. That was the start. I gathered all my friends from the school and from the neighborhood, and we started to attend his classes. So the first class, the second class, and the third class, which I had with him, on the third class, I decided that I'm going to become a monk, and I'm going to serve this Vedanta the way Bhagwan is serving. So that is the start of my spiritual life.
Thank you so much for sharing all these small stories, right? Amazing, and I feel now the sentiment, how you feel now when you tell this, when you share, and I really appreciate this. There is a term, let's say, Sanatan Dharma, that maybe is not to understand, especially in Western, so just wondering, how will you explain to a person what Sanatan Dharma is? But imagine this person doesn't know nothing about yoga, Hinduism. Imagine this person doesn't know where India is, for example. Okay. So how would you explain?
Yeah. So thank you. So Sanatan Dharma is the ancient term for Hinduism. Sanatan Dharma is the teachings of the Vedas. The Vedas is the main teaching. Vedas means knowledge. That Hinduism is based on Veda. Hinduism is actually not based on Vedas only. Vedas are the it's the storage of all kinds of knowledge. In Vedas there is medical science, there is science, there is astronomy, there is, space technology, space science, there is, Ayurveda, there is all kinds of art, culture, education, literature, history, everything is there in the Vedas. Also, the rituals, the rites, the rituals that we have, that you see in the Hindus, that is also in the Vedas. And there is this, knowledge of the self, knowledge of consciousness, knowledge of truth, that is also there. So Vedas is, Veda means, Veda comes from the root word called Vida. Vida means, to know. So whatever you know is Vedas. So in the Vedas, there is also that philosophy which does not consider Veda to be truth. There is a concept, there's a school of thought which is called Charbak. So these Charbak people, they used to think that Vedas is not true. Whatever has been said in Vedas, it is not true. There is no God, there is no self, there is no consciousness. This world is the only reality, and you should leave this world and you should enjoy this world in whatever way possible, even if you have to steal, if you have to borrow, in whatever ways, just enjoy your life, just enjoy your life. So this is called Charbakism, and that is also in the Vedas, because this is also a knowledge. So anything which is, knowledge is Vedas. So Vedas is, they are divided into three parts. The first part is Karma Kanda, that is, the rites, the rituals that you see, the fire ceremony, the yagyas, these all comes under Karma Kanda. Karma means action. So, these are the actions that people actually do, the rituals, etc. And then there is a Upasana Kanda. Upasana means to pray, to devote. So, devotion, praying, these are love for God. These are also, the second part of the Veda is Upasana Kanda. That is, it talks about how to pray, how to devote yourself, how to love God. These are all in the Upasana Kanda. And the last one is Jnana Kanda. Jnana means knowledge. So that knowledge which will make you free, that knowledge which will, take you beyond all ignorance, that knowledge which will take you beyond birth and death, that knowledge which will free you from all the bondages of karma, that knowledge which will free you from all the bondages of your mind. In your mind, we have all these, attributes, this sattva, rajas, and tamas. We have all these tendencies like anger, hatred, jealousy, lust, all these tendencies we have. So, we cannot go beyond that. So there is a knowledge by which we can go beyond all this, and that is called the self-knowledge or truth. So this, this whole thing, the Vedas, is actually called Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan means something which does not change, which is, beginningless and endless, which does not have any beginning. You cannot go into the history and find a point where the Sanatan Dharma is actually started. You will see, even if you go before 10,000 years, then also you will see that the Sanatan Dharma was there. And then also, there were people who used to say that we have heard this from our ancestors. So you go to those ancestors at that time frame, and then you see that they were also speaking about some, their other ancestors that we have heard from it. So it does not have any beginning and it does not have any end, and that is called Sanatan. And dharma means right conduct. The conduct that we do, the actions that we do. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is said that kim karma kim akarmeti kavayo atra mohitaha. What is the actual karma? Karma means actions. What are the actions that you need to do, perform? We perform actions. We perform all kinds of actions. But are our actions really the actions which we are supposed to do? do we not do those actions which harm others, or which harm other, or which harms ourselves? Yes, we do. But we cannot stop doing that. Or sometimes we don't know that these are actions which we should not do. These are actions which we should refrain. We don't understand that. So, dharma means those actions which are beneficial to you, which will take you beyond all ignorance, which will take you beyond all sufferings, which will take you beyond all bondages, which will take you beyond all darkness, which will take you beyond all all attributes or your mental tendencies, which will make you free. So that is called dharma. So Sanatan Dharma means that those actions or that knowledge which is beginningless, which is endless, which does not change. This is true for today. Even the knowledge of the Vedas are relevant today in the same way they were relevant before 10,000 years. So, there is no change of that. So that changeless knowledge, which when practiced gives us, yields happiness, yields bliss, yields peace, yields knowledge, yields light, yields liberation. That is called Sanatan Dharma.
Great explanation. I think was really crystal clear for everybody. All these terms, Sanatan Dharma, and thank you so much for that, Swami. Just wondering about another term. How would you define equanimity from the Sanatan Dharma tradition point of view?
Yeah, thank you. So, why we are discussing today about equanimity or equality in Sanatan Dharma, it's because, we know that Sanatan Dharma, in this Sanatan Dharma, there is caste difference, there is caste difference, and that is, it is considered that people are not considered to, every people is not considered to be equal. There is discrimination within the society. That is what is actually perceived by people who do not understand Sanatan Dharma. But in the Bhagavad Gita itself, at one place, Lord Krishna said that chatur varna maya srishta guna karma vibhagasha tasya kartaram apimam vidma akartam avvayam. So it says that these four castes or this four type of division has been done by me, but this division was not selected. I did not select this. I did not tell one fine morning somebody did not wake up and just selected some people to be Brahman, some people to be Shudra, some people to be Kshatriyas, some people to be Vaishyas. In not that way. This caste system actually is based on the tendencies of human being. Like even in one house, if you see that there are four brothers who are given the same kind of education, who are given the same kind of upbringing, same kind of environment, but one becomes an engineer, one becomes a businessman, one goes to the army, and one maybe does something else. So, the same kind of education, the same kind of environment could not, bring that, that equality in their tendencies. These environments, what happened was they helped them enhance their inner qualities, inner tendencies. So if he has a favorable environment, so he becomes a good doctor. If he has a favorable environment, he became a good engineer, he became a good army officer, or somebody becomes something else. So that means this division is already there. This division is not created by somebody. This division is already there within human tendencies. Every human being has different tendencies, different approach towards life. They have different kind of different kind of, perception towards their goal, different kind of perception towards truth, towards happiness, towards peace, towards prosperity. So, there is no law by which everybody can be drawn into a single fraternity or a single, line. Everybody has different, there's diversity. It's a truth. So, according to this diversity which is present within the mind, this is how the caste system was done. But later on, here is a point. If a person who belongs to a low caste, if he wants to become a learned man, a person who, if he wants to know know Vedas or this highest knowledge, is he qualified to know this? Yes, because all the spiritual texts that we have, you might know that we have these two great epics in India. One is Mahabharata and the other is Ramayana. So when you see the Mahabharata starts with a word called Suta Uvacha. Sut, who is this Sut? Sut means this is a learned man who is revered, who is respected all over the society, even by the Brahmins, who are the highest, who belong to the highest class. They are these highest class Brahmins. They also, respect this person, but this person actually belongs to the low caste. His parents might be somebody from the low caste, but because he had the, he had the interest of knowing about what is written in the Vedas, so society has helped him come up to the point where he can become a learned person, a real learned person, and who can preside over the high class people. So then there is this Bhagavatam, this Srimad Bhagavatam. So that Srimad Bhagavatam also, you will see that is also been said by the Sutta, that is a low caste person who elevated himself as a Brahmin. So in that way, there was no discrimination. That division that we see was according to their tendencies, according to their actions that they used to do. Now, as Sanatan Dharma is a very, very, ancient religion, it's a very, very ancient, it has come from a very, very long time. And we also had different kind of, different kind of kings. Sometimes the kings came from outside of India. They didn't have any, knowledge of what we are all built, what this land was built. The British also came. So they were the people who actually, mostly the Britishers, they were them who actually branded them into caste. They actually branded these people as a caste and a creed and all these things, But before that, it was not possible, because a society based on inequality cannot last long. If there is inequality in a society, it cannot last long. But Sanatan Dharma has traveled through, not through decades, not through centuries, not through millenniums. It has thrived and prospered beyond millenniums, ages of millenniums. So that is why there is no difference. Now, coming to the point, which was your question, that what is the concept of equality in Sanatan Dharma? So, now we come to the prayers of the rishis. In any other dharma or in any other caste or a religion or, faith, you will see that they are all directed towards a particular group of people. Like, any faith, they are directed towards the people who are following the faith. They are not concerned about those who are not following the faith. They are not concerned about the humanity as a whole. But here is a prayer from the rishis. It says, Sarve Sukhina Bhavantu, Sarve Bhavantu Niramaya, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Now, it says that everybody in this world should be happy. They are not speaking about only the people from Sanatan Dharma, or they are not speaking about the high class Brahmins who should be happy or who should prosper. They are talking about everybody of this world. Everybody should have peace. Everybody should have prosperity. Everybody should have, good health. Everybody should have wealth, prosperity, happiness, better living. So this is what Sanatan Dharma is all about. Then Sanatan Dharma, in the Sanatan Dharma, in the Vedas, we find a clarion call. The rishis are addressing to humanity. It says, Shrindantu Vishwe Amritasya Putra. They have realized, they have discovered this truth. Now, when they have discovered this truth, they believe that this truth belongs to the humanity as a whole. This truth does not belong to them who are the followers of this dharma, of this religion. They believe that this truth is, belongs to every, like, this rocket technology. If you say rocket technology maybe it was discovered somewhere in the West, but today, that technology is used everywhere in the world. Any kind of medicine, which was discovered somewhere in some country, but today this is available everywhere. So anything new which is discovered actually is for the whole world. Okay. So in the same way, at that time, the rishis or the pioneers of Sanatan Dharma, they were so progressive. They were so progressive that they had this vision of the world when world did not exist, when there was no, when there was no perception of the world or humanity or this global village, then also they have declared it to the world. Sindantu Vishwe Amritasya Putra. Oh, the world, oh, the inhabitants of the world, listen. Listen, all the inhabitants of this world. It includes everybody, It includes everybody. That you are the son of the immortal. You are the son, you are all the sons of the immortal. You are not the son of somebody, some person, some this or some that. No. You may belong to a different religion, you may belong to a different race, you may belong to a different language, you may belong to a different, color, but you are all the son of the immortals. So this is what the rishis had said. The pioneers of Vedas or the Sanatan Dharma had declared. Then they said, Aye Dhamani Divyani Tastu. Even the people who are the inhabitants of the divine world, for them also, for they and I, we are all the same. They have discovered a truth which is not only true for you and me or people like us all over the world. They are also truth for people who are, who live in a divine world, who live in a very prosperous world. Today we can relate them as, the people who are billionaires or people who are, trillionaires, these people, So they are also talking about them also, even for you, though you can have a better life, you can have a better prospect in your life, but this truth is also true for you, the way it is true for each and every person of this world. So this is what Sanatan Dharma speaks. Then again, the world is one family. We say that our country is a family. Our country, everybody talks about their country or their village or their town or their, we want to just, make a small group. We want to make, we want to become more and more, inferior. But here, the rishis had declared the world to be one family. The greatest message that the Vedas gives to humanity is this, that Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the whole world is one family. The whole world is my family. You might belong to Africa, you might belong to America, you might belong to Spain, you might belong to Europe, you might belong to Australia or Asia or wherever. You are my family. The way everybody, in this way it says, I am Bandhur, I am Neti, Ganana Lahu Chetasam, Udara Charitanam tu Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, if I consider you to be my own, then I have to consider somebody else to be not my own. If I like you, then I have to dislike somebody. So a person who does this, a person who makes choices, a person who who makes choices, who chooses, these are people who are narrow-minded people. The Vedas declares them as narrow-minded people. They are not religious. They are not spiritual. They are not even considered to be a proper human being. It says, Udara charitanam tu vasudeva kutumbakam. But a person who considers this whole world to be his family. The whole world belongs to him. And a person who is responsible for each and every people of this world. That is the real person. That is the person which the Vedas consider to be, one who is, one who is, who has huge heart, and that is one who is considered to be a real human being. So these are, the concepts of equality, of sameness, of oneness in the Vedas. The Vedas does not say that you and I are brothers. No, we are not brothers. We are one. Like the sun is one. But, the sun can be seen, something from here in the earth. It can be seen something from the space. It can be seen something from Pluto. Then the sun can be seen something from Mercury. For people, or for people, if there are people in Mercury, they might see sun as a huge ball, fireball. If there are people in Pluto, they might see the sun to be a very tiny, small light. If people who are in the space, they might see sun as a completely different form. And us in this world, we see sun to be different. But we can see the sun to be different. For us, the apparent reality might be different, but the sun is one. In the same way, you might look different than me. Your name might be different from my name. You might have different qualities than me. You might have different way of life than me. You might speak a different language than me. But I and you are one. This is what Sanatan Dharma says. Okay.
Great message. I think definitely nowadays is even more relevant than probably 2 centuries or 2 millennia ago, because of the modern world. At least the feeling around is like we are more separate from each other, right? And now it looks like technology, although, for example, is allowing us not to have this interview. Also, technology is kind of support from one side, but at the same time, it's a blocker sometimes, right? So it's a source of disconnection, right, from each other. So I'm just wondering, nowadays it's totally clear, no, this concept of equality. What do you think is the biggest challenge nowadays, and how can we overcome these challenges following the principle from Sanatan Dharma?
The biggest challenge is this, that we don't love people. This is the biggest challenge. We have become very selfish. Nuclear bomb, corona or AIDS or cancer, these are not the challenges. The biggest challenge is this, that I don't love you, you don't love me. I don't care for you, you don't care for me. And why this has become? Because there is no, upbringing of ours which talks about this oneness, which has been, described in the Sanatan Dharma. So we need to speak about it more and more. Everybody has to be aware that I and my brother in Africa who is hungry, who is struggling, who is who is struggling, who is in a very challenging situation for finding food, finding his, trying to meet his ends. I and he is not my brother, he is me. Actually, it is me who is struggling in Africa. It is me who is traveling somewhere else. So, this oneness, this message of oneness should go everywhere. Because the problem is this: we have everything today. We have technology, we have medicine, we have everything today. The only thing that we lack is love, care, empathy. I don't understand you, you don't understand me. I don't understand you. Why? Because I don't want to understand you. I don't want to understand you because for me, you are separate. You are different from me. And for you, I am different. So you don't want to understand me. I don't want to understand you. I don't want to feel for you. You don't want to feel for me, because we think that we are all different. So here, Sanatan Dharma is the most necessary. It is not a religion. It is not it's not a dogma. It is a science. It is a science. It says that each soul is potentially divine. You and me are one. It says, Ekameva Dvitiyam Neha Nanasti Kinchana. There's only one. There's no two. And there's no diversity. So these words should come. These words should overflow each and every human mind, human heart. We should be loaded with these words today. We should not be loaded with guns or rocket launchers or any other things, which can divide us. We should all be loaded with the thought currents of the Vedas, of Vedanta, of Sanatan Dharma. We should all be loaded with this spirit of oneness, of love. And this is the greatest challenge. This is the greatest challenge. And we should all, rise up and take this challenge, and we should jump into humanity and tell every humanity that you and I are one. We are not different. We are not different. In the Bhagavad Gita, a wise person, a person who is wise, is called a yogi. Like you have mentioned yoga and yogi. The word is actually yog, and yog and yogi. So yog means attaining the highest goal of your life. That is super conscious state, or or becoming one with the self knowledge, or becoming or attaining the state of integration between body, mind, and the soul. That is called yoga. Now, who is a yogi? Who is the person who actually have attained the state of yoga? So Lord Krishna gives an account of a person who actually has attained the state of yoga. He says that Suhrin Mitra Ari Udasin Madhvesha Dvesha Bandhusu Sadhu Swapi Cha Papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyate. Now, who is a yogi? He says a yogi will consider everybody to be one, everybody to be the same. Who are these everybody? The first one is Suhrin, that is a person who is a well-wisher. Suhin Mitra, well-wisher and his friend. Ari means his enemy. Udasin, a person does not have any interest in him, who is completely dispassionate to him. That person also should be considered to be the same. Suhin Mitra Ari Udasin Madhaswa, a person who acts as a middleman between him and others. Okay, Dvesha, a person who has envy, who is envious towards him. And Bandhushu, a person who is a co-worker. Sadhuswapi, a person who is a pious soul. And Papeshu, a person who is not a pious soul, who is a criminal, who is a sinful person. Sama Buddhir Vishishyate, for all these people, among, a yogi has the same kind of attitude, the same kind of approach to each and every of this. So this is called a yogi. A yogi does not differentiate. A yogi does not make choices. For him, everybody is the same. Here in India, there was a famous saint who once told somebody that, that in India we have a river called Ganges, which is a very, very religious and very, pious river. And we consider Ganga to be our mother. She has come from God, Lord Vishnu. So everybody, they apply Ganga water in their head. So, that saint one day said that the day you can consider the Ganga water and the water which is flowing in your drain to be the same, that day you should know that you have attained the highest state of humanity. So there is no difference. Sanatan Dharma does not talk about sameness. Sanatan Dharma does not talk about equality. Sanatan Dharma is based on equality. When humanity have attained the state of equality, then the Sanatan Dharma has come to light. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all these message, and the passion that you use, to share it. Actually, you answered already a few of my next questions. For example, I was about to ask how you envision equality now, and you already answered that. And we always wrap up the interviews with a single question: what will be your wish for you and for the rest of the human beings? And also, you answered already this question. I think was crystal clear, previous. However, I would like to ask you, I don't know why, but I have the feeling right now to ask you this. I hope this is not going to be, let's say, awkward question for you before going to the meditation. Okay, so this is going to be the final question, because I see the picture of your master behind you, right, Bhagwan? So I'm just wondering, I don't know why, but I want to ask you this, okay? So imagine right now you are stand up now in front of your master. What will you say to your master?
The only thing that I can say to my master is that I am grateful for him. I am grateful to him, and I'm grateful for everything that he has taught me, and everything that I am today. This life is for my master. This life will be for my master forever. And if I have life after this life, all those lives will be all dedicated to him. He is my goal, he is my means, and he is my ends. I want to leave him, I want to live in him, I want to live with him, and I want to die for him. So this is what I can say about my master. I want to just, fold my hands and say, thank you, master. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much, Swami, for this beautiful. I feel their true love, when you are talking about your master, to your master. So, well, now let's go to the meditation. I really appreciate everything that you say. Really, really appreciate. And well, yes, let's say open the space to meditate. Whatever you want to share with us today. And again, thank you so much for being here with us. The microphone is yours, Swami. Thank you.
So, meditation, before doing this meditation, let us just say 2 or 3 words before meditation. What is meditation actually? Meditation in Sanskrit is called dhyan. And it is very, very important because after dhyan comes the state of samadhi, which is called the superconscious state. So meditation means concentration. So concentration is consciousness. So whatever concentration you have, if you have 25% of your concentration, then 25% of consciousness will flow within your mind or within your system. If you can increase that consciousness from 25% to 50%, then 50% of your being will be conscious. And when you can, expand that 50% to 100%, then you will be 100% conscious, and that is the state of yoga. Samadha vachala buddhistada yogam abhapsasi. The moment you can integrate your mind with that consciousness, that is the time which is called yoga. Now,